guys, welcome back to 𝘿𝐿𝐼𝐷. Today we have a new deck for Magma benefits featuring our new Heatran VMAX from Astral Radiance, the new card with the Magma Gain ability, allowed to heal 50 damage from this Pokemon if you have a Stadium card in play. It also gets to do max heat burst, doing 180 damage plus the burn effect for 2 fire and 1 colorless. So we're trying to tank as much damage as we can with this huge VMAX Pokemon, adding his HP with 3 heat energy and 1 copy of Big Charm. We also have a lot of heal cards to help us survive multiple turns while doing a decent amount of damage every single turn. We have our 2 copies of Lucky Ice Pop, 3 Honeys, 1 Yell Towel, 2 Cook, and 1 Cyllene to put those cards back at the top of our deck, flipping 2 coins with this supporter card. For our Stadium cards, we're playing 2 Jubilife Village, 1 Collapse Stadium, 1 Magma Basin, and 1 Winden Stadium for the extra healing effect. We also have our Weakness Guard ability using the new Mesprit from Astral Radiance with the Mental Shroud ability to protect all of your Pokemon from weakness if you have both Uxie and Azalf in play along with it. We also have 1 copy of Rescue Carrier to reactivate Mesprit's ability by reviving our Lake Guardians if they get KO'd, or if they're not playing our weakness, we can even revive our Menafee to keep our bench protected. And since we're only playing 1 copy of each basic plus 2 Heatran V, we actually need that Hisuian Heavy Ball to get it from the prize if they get stuck there. For the setup, we have 3 Baby Pass, 3 Quick Ball, and 3 Ultra Ball. For the evolution, we have 2 Bush Shake and 1 Intense in addition to our Ultra Balls. For our Switch cards, we have 1 Escape Rope, 1 Air Balloon, and 1 Bird Keeper. For our draw support, we have 3 Marnies, 3 Research, 2 Shauna, 1 Kindler, and 2 Jubilife Village. For our energies, we are playing 7 Basic Fire, 3 Heat Energy, and 1 Aurora for Azalf to do Mind Ban, confusing our opponent's active Pokemon. So that's all for the deck list. Let's go for gameplay! Okay, let's go for our first game. We're up against Malamar for the first one. 1 price Malamar. They got Rapid Strike Tentacles doing a lot of damage, so our only hope to survive against this deck is to heal every single turn. Once we have enough energies, we actually get to collect 1 prize every single turn, and at least collect like 4 prizes with the first Heatran. Because by the time they got, if we can even evolve the second one, because we only have 2 copies for this deck, if by the time we get our second one, they can already do a 1-hit knockout for, with the Cynthia and so many copies of Shady Dealings Inteleon, and they got a lot of Rapid Strike cards in their deck already. By that time they would have nothing but Rapid Strike cards inside their deck. They would have already used up their Scuba Nets. They would have already played all of those non-Rapid Strike cards from their hand. So at that stage of the game, they can do a 1-hit knockout quite easily, unless if we have a lot of heat energy and Big Charm attached to the second one. So I don't think we have that many to spare. If we are investing all of them on the first Heatran, it should be collecting at least 4 prize cards until we can get the next one out. So charging it with enough energies to attack isn't really a big issue to start with. If we get our Magma Basin early, if we don't, we actually just need to heal every single turn, or just waste a few turns having something else as the sacrifice, because we can actually recover our other Pokemons as well, or retrieve them with that 1 Rescue Carrier. So if they play Water types, we don't really have a high chance of winning, just because we are actually charging up our energies quite slowly. We have our VIP Pass though to get our Lake Spirits, to get our Lake Guardians to protect ourselves from weakness. So if we have our Heatran in the active spot, we can actually guard it from weakness and tank enough damage while attaching energy, waiting for 2 or 3 turns before we can attack with our Heatran VMAX, doing a decent amount of damage every single turn. And once we can attack, all we need to do is heal, 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 and that actually helps us survive a lot of turns, and your opponent may not be able to deal with that. So Ice Rider can actually do a lot of damage though, even without the weakness. And I actually paired against Ice Rider and Arceus a lot of times, and I actually lost quite a lot of times, I'm sad to say, just because we couldn't recycle them fast enough. We only have 1 copy. The initial list had actually 2 copies of each Azalf, Uxie, and Mesprit, but it doesn't actually work that well in terms of attaching your energies. It's actually much slower. You don't get energies as fast. You don't actually get your supporter cards every single turn. So it's much less consistent in terms of drawing out the right cards into your hand and, attacking fast with your Heatran. That is the main priority for this deck. We want to be attacking every single turn and doing the attack as early as we can. Attaching 3 energies is actually a big deal, and it's actually quite difficult just because we have no Magma Basin, only 1 copy. We can't actually do the discard that easily, only playing 10 copies of energy in this deck. Not a lot of energies as well. 11 energies, but only 7 basic. We actually have 1 Aurora, I forgot to count that, so actually we have 11 copies. Not quite difficult to draw them into our hand, but it's quite difficult to discard them and play the Basin at the same time. So Jubilife Village is actually helping us a lot for this deck. This list actually has 2 copies of Jubilife Village If you can't attack yet, you actually get to shuffle your hand and draw 5 cards, allowing you a a good start on the next turn. Even if they play a Marnie, at least you got 4 cards in your hand, 5 cards from the top deck. You at least got 5 cards to do something on your next turn, right? Instead of having like no cards left in your hand. If you played a quick ball, you would have essentially 2 or 1 card left, which isn't really gonna do much. So I like Jump Light Villages because it helps out a lot if you can't attack that fast. If you're playing a deck that is quite slow to set up, you can't actually attack that early. You can use that Stadium card to help support your draw until you can get your system running. So that's the way we're playing that Stadium. We're playing a lot of new cards in this deck. We're playing Cyllene as well, pretty cool card. We are playing Honey, flipping coins until you get tails for 40x damage recovery. Flipping each hit gives you 40x. That is a lot of damage recovery. If you flip 5 hits, you actually get to recover 200 damage for an item card. That's quite ridiculous. If you actually play Lucky Ice Pop, I think it's better to play Lucky Ice Pop though, because you at least get your first 20 damage recovery. With the Honey, if you flip a tails for your first coin, you get 0 damage recovery. For Lucky Ice Pop, you at least get the first 20 damage recovery. So I prefer that Ice Pop, to be honest. But 40x is a lot though. 40x, if you flip 3 coins even, you get 120 already. 120 is equivalent to Hyper Potion, and we can't actually afford to discard energy for this deck. If we discard our energies, we can't attack, and Heatran cannot do anything but tank damage, and we don't want to do that. Heatran is supposed to be attacking, otherwise we can't win the game by doing nothing but, tanking damage. I don't think we can win that way, because we don't even have enough heal cards to deck them out. Unless if we keep flipping heads, obviously. So only 1 copy of Cyllene in this deck, helping us recover, revive our heal cards, playing back the same Lucky Ice Pop and the same Honey card, recovering over and over and over. If you have a Stadium card in play, you get to recover 50 damage as well, with your ability, obviously. But if your opponent plays a Stadium card, you can't recover. If the Stadium card is your opponent's Stadium, you cannot do the ability. So that's the bad thing about Heatran's ability. It's actually quite specific. It has to be your Stadium card. So they played a Cynthia, and they actually got a Spiral Energy on the last turn. So they're gonna attach it right now. I think we recovered. My bad. I think that was the last turn. We recovered a lot of damage with our Lucky Ice Pop, and they are back to 0. So they need to do 350 damage, which isn't really that high if they're playing Inteleon. They just need like 9 Rapid Strike cards in their hand. So if they, for example, evolve the Malamar, attach the energy before playing the Cynthia, they actually get to swap all of those item cards and evolution for Rapid Strike cards. If they play Shady Dealings, it can search for 2. As you see right now, they can actually search for 2 Rapid Strike cards Trainer into their hand. And if they have a few copies of the Inkay in their discard pile, they can actually do Rescue Carrier to get an additional 80 damage with their Rapid Strike Tentacles. So Rescue Carrier is going to duplicate the amount of damage they can do. Do extra 40 damage, obviously. Duplicate that 1 card into 2 copies of Rapid Strike cards. And they got Rapid Strike Surge as well. So if they play Cynthia after the setup, they can actually do up to 440 damage. That's how broken this deck is. It's ridiculous. They're doing so much damage. So the bad thing though is that to start with, you actually need a lot. You need to sift through your deck, because you need to actually play those Scoop Up Net. You need to use up all of those cards that are not Rapid Strike before you're able to do enough damage for the knockout. So you actually need to prepare a lot, as opposed to your Chinchino. That's why I love Chinchino so much. Chinchino doesn't require preparations. Chinchino doesn't require enough turns until you can get the max damage output, which is 440. I think it's better to aim for 400 if you're playing Inteleon, because 440 is actually a huge demand if you are lucky enough to play Cynthia after the setup and your Octillery at the same time. Plus that Inteleon, you can get a max of 440, but it's not really that easy, honestly. So 8, 9, 10, 11, and they got even the Rescue Carrier for an extra copy, 12, right? Well, if they evolve, they have to play that card from their hand. So 8, 9, 10, 11. So they have to play a Rescue Carrier, do the Rapid Strike Octillery after playing the Cynthia, and Shady Dealings for 2 trainer cards into their hand, and that is a huge demand. 440, they don't need that much though, they just need 400 damage. 400 damage to kill the Heatran if we have a big charm and a heat energy attached. That's equivalent to 380 HP, I think. So 360 is not enough, they need 10 Rapid Strike cards in their hand, which is a lot. We don't have a big charm right now, but we don't actually get to recover that much. So our only hope is to retreat to the bench. I think we're just gonna incubate and wait until we get our recovery. Kind of the same as Zacian with your Crystal Cave. We're actually recovering with Magma Gain instead. Saving it on the bench. If they get a boss with the Inteleon though, that's the good thing about Inteleon decks, is that you get your boss quite easily. The bad thing with Chinchino is that you can't actually draw out the boss unless if you are lucky enough to draw it from the top deck, but it's not that difficult though. It's not impossible to draw a boss with your Chinchino. It's quite easy as well. That's why I prefer Chinchino honestly, but it's definitely much easier with your Shady Dealings. Okay, here comes Escape Rope. We're gonna just wait on the bench. We have our second copy ready to go as well. So we actually are lucky enough to have a Hisuian Heavy Ball, but we can't actually get the evolution from the prize if it's stuck there. So we're lucky enough to have both inside the deck, and we actually got one already benched, but we got no energies on it, so we better be drawing cards with Job Life Village. There we go with drawing a healthy amount of 5 cards, and we got our Magma Basin for the next turn. We got our Honey, we got Cynthia as well. My bad, Marnie. I just called Marnie Cynthia. We have no Cynthia in this deck, just because we're playing VMAX. Farewell Bell, let's not forget about that card. Farewell Bell, I mean, nobody plays that card. I played it with Garbodor, but you can actually play it with the new VMAXs. You can play Farewell Bell with your Machamp VMAX, with your Aggron VMAX, with your Heatran VMAX, any VMAXs. But it would be quite weird to be searching your deck for something once you get knocked out. It only allows you to search after the knockout, after it faints. So if they kill a Heatran with that tool card attached, you get to search. If they play Tool Jammer, you can't search. If they play Tool Scrapper, it's the same thing. So it's not really that powerful, honestly. Most people would go for Choice Belt, obviously. Okay, here comes the Malamar. Are they able to do enough damage? I think they haven't played the supporter card. I'm not too sure. They have a Cynthia at the top of the discard pile. So I think they already played it. I don't really know. I wasn't paying attention, sorry guys. Okay, they're not... Oh, they don't need a lot of damage, so they are not playing boss. So we didn't do a knockout on the last turn, so Cynthia only draws them up to 5 cards in their hand. And they actually wasted that one Cynthia, which is a very bad idea, because now they have one less Cynthia in their deck. They actually have one last copy, it could be in the prize as well. So no Cynthia means they are not able to do a one-hit knockout on the final Heatran VMAX. We do have a second VMAX in play. If they play Escape Rope though, they can actually kill the first one and then kill 2 more one-price cards on the bench. But, you know, they need a lot of turns for that. They need at least 2 Escape Ropes, or like one of each boss and Escape Rope. So let's see how much we can recover with our Honey. We actually did, oh my goodness. Look at that, oh my god. Holy Christ. We recovered everything with that Honey, that's insane. That's insane, guys. I didn't even realize that. Holy shit, we covered everything, yo. Now we don't need to worry about setting up the next one, but we're just gonna be diligent. We should be attaching to the active though, because they may play a fan. If they do a fan of waves, they can actually deny us the attack on the next turn, and we need to be attacking every single turn. We cannot be complacent just because they can still do a one-hit knockout and leave us with nothing but a second Heatran to attack. If we can't attack the next turn, they can slowly kill it off as well. We have our second Honey, but don't expect to get too lucky though. We got really lucky with the second copy. I mean, Honey, usually I would get like at most 3 heads. But this time we got 11 heads, that's crazy. We healed 440 damage. But we only have 23 damage counters on our Heatran, so we healed everything. That is redonkulous, guys. Honey for full recovery is essentially a Cheryl, keeping your energies on the Heatran VMAX. We got really lucky though. Okay, they conceded, because apparently they got no more Cynthia. So they wasted that final Cynthia. I think the last copy is in the prize, or like they were trying to, you know, they can't even do a one-hit knockout because we have a big charm attached to the first one. We have a big charm and a heat energy. It's virtually impossible now. Like, they need so much damage. They can still do what I mentioned earlier. So they can still do evolve, attach the energy, play the Cynthia, and then Rapid Strike search for extra copies, and then kill it with one strike. But we got our second ready to go, so I don't think it's that difficult. We just need the Basin out, and then Air Balloon on one of the Lake Spirits, retreat and attack, collect the final 2 prize. So right now we're up against Moltres with Urshifu. Oh, it's not Urshifu, my bad. It's Darkrai VSTAR. Darkrai are really scary deck just because they are so crazy fast. They have Tracking Shoes, Star Abyss, and they got Moltres to keep doing Dire Flame Wings. They got so many ways of adding the damage with Wheezing and with Choice Belt as well. So they're drawing very fast with those item cards, Tracking Shoes, and also the ability, Radiant Greninja as well. So it's a very turbo deck. It's quite insane. Like, the speed of this deck is just insanity. So we got no Heatran to start with, which is horrible. We got one finally in our hand after the village, after using our Stadium card. Okay, here comes Moltres. They actually attach to the Moltres though. Surprise. Are they gonna attack with Aura Burn? It actually damages themselves. So they have no idea what we're playing yet. So I suppose they were thinking, you know, maybe they thought we were playing a 1 prize. That's probably the reason why they tried to attack with Moltres. Because now we can actually kill the Moltres with 1 hit. If they choose to use Aura Burn, we can do max heat burst for 200 damage essentially with the burn, doing 230 damage essentially, killing the Moltres with 1 hit. So we don't need to worry about a weakness because they're playing a dark type. We are forced to discard 2 of those. We should be playing that Stadium though, but I'm not sure if Winden is gonna help out much. If they don't do a boss, I don't think that Windium is gonna help at all. But they may just quite likely play that card. So I think we should definitely have played that card before. We should be playing the Winden before discarding our hand. I mean, that should make more sense. Jump Life actually helps you draw though if you got like a dead hand. So we're gonna Wise Guidance. So this is actually pretty cool. We're using Uxie's attack to draw out our evolution just because we have not many ways of evolving. But that actually slows us down by 1 turn in terms of energy attachment. So I'm not too sure if that is a wise decision. We should be attaching every single turn as fast as we can to our Heatran if we want to attack every single turn. But I suppose we don't really have to worry too much just because we're healing a lot. If we take it too lightly though, if we delay too much, we may run out of our heal cards. So that's a bad thing. We have to... I don't think it's smart though. Like, upon afterthought, after playing enough games with this deck, I think the best move is to keep attaching energy to your... We even have a Marnie in our hand anyways. We can actually draw out our evolution quite easily. So I think we don't actually have a lot of ways to get the evolution for this list. So this one is one of the earlier version of my Heatran Mesprit deck. It doesn't actually have that many Ultra Balls, that many Bush Shakes. So that's why I actually did Wise Guidance to get the evolution, which is quite silly because they can actually play a Marnie, so it doesn't really work that well. I would actually prefer keeping the hand and attaching to Heatran. So they discarded our Stadium card, and now they're attacking with Moltres. Radiant Greninja is out. Greninja is actually quite crazy. They got like the Moonlight Shuriken attack as well, doing 90 damage to 2 of our opponent's Pokemon. Quite insane. So we need our Manaphy, but we don't have to bench it for this game just because they're not playing Water Energies. They have no Water Energy. They may play Aurora though, but they need 2 copies of that card for Greninja to do its attack, and also it actually helps you do more damage with Darkrai as well. So Aurora Energy is actually quite good if you're playing a Radiant Pokemon that doesn't actually fit into your type. Like Radiant Heatran only needs 1 fire though, but Radiant Greninja needs like 2 water. Howlucha, I'm not sure about what attack it does, but the ability is probably the main reason Howlucha is a Radiant Pokemon. So we got our second energy. We're just gonna Marnie and then do the training court. They actually gave us a training court though. I'm not sure if we should be playing our Rose Tower first, just because we could be doing... Oh, we can actually attack this turn. So we got our first knockout, surprisingly, because we got the Magma Basin. So don't use the training card, it's a trap. I actually got trapped like early, you know, when I first played this game. I got a bit greedy and used the training card that my opponent played from their hand on the last turn. I used their training card before I used my Magma Basin. You know, early when Brilliant Stars first got out, I didn't really know how to play Magma Basin, so we have no more fire energy inside the discard pile, so we can't actually use Magma Basin anymore. So make sure you're aware of that. Count the number of energy cards in your discard pile before using the training card if you want to be maximizing the potential of the stadium cards in play, because you can actually do both if you have enough discarded. Okay, here comes Dark Void. I forgot the attack. What is it called? I have no idea. Dark Pulse. Okay, Dark Pulse. Same name as the old Zoroark Greninja GX. Same exact name. Dark Pulse. Same exact effect. Same base damage as well. It has a different kind of VSTAR / GX sort of attack ability. Zoroark Greninja actually has an attack that allows you to put 2, if you have extra energy attached to it, you get to put 2 GX Pokemon from a discard pile and attach 3 Darkness energy to each of those Pokemon, which is quite crazy. But it's an attack though, so you have to pass the turn, and your opponent may just play your weakness and knock out your GX before you get your first knockout. Okay, here comes Moltres, the second one. Collecting energies for Darkrai to do a lot of damage. Darkrai is gonna try and kill off our Heatran with 1 hit. We got our Honey and Cook in our hand, ready to go, waiting for the recovery. Waiting for Darkrai to do damage to our Heatran. We got nothing else in our hand though, unfortunately. I actually prefer Lucky Ice Bob. It's kind of safer. For some reason, the rate of pulling a lot of hits with Lucky Ice Pop is higher just because of the first coin flip. If your first coin flip is a heads, you actually stand a higher chance of getting more heads. And if your first coin flip is a tails, at least you get that 20 damage, right? I mean, it's just depressing having the first tails with the honey and then you got 0 damage recovery, wasting that whole item card. So we got 1 at least. 40 damage, not bad. And we played a Cook for 70 damage recovery. We actually healed 100 and... how much is that? 150 damage. For 110, 160 damage. We recovered 160 damage with our supporter, with our trainer cards, and the stadium and ability. Not the stadium, but the ability. So imagine if Heatran is a metal type. If the ability is a... if the ability works with Crystal Cave, it actually gets to recover 80 damage. So Crystal Cave, Heatran is actually a metal fire. So it would be pretty cool if Heatran was a metal VMAX. Oh well. It's a bit greedy though, I suppose. So Path to the Peak doesn't actually work against Heatran. It kind of is weird because if they play any stadium card, you still can't use your ability. So it's kind of pointless to play Path to the Peak if you're playing against Heatran. So Path to the Peak shuts down the ability. It forces your Heatran not to be able to heal itself, but as long as you have no stadium card, none in play that is your stadium, if the stadium card in play is your opponent's stadium, you still can't heal any damage from Heatran. Okay, right now they are using... that's the scary thing about that deck, is that they can actually play the Cruel Charge. I forgot what it's called actually. It's not Cruel Charge. It's some other charge. So the one price Moltres actually allows them to attach freely from their hand any up to 2 Darkness Energy, and then they got extra 60 damage in that turn. So right now, how much are they doing though? They are doing 300 damage with the Choice Belt Darkrai. So if they choose to attack with the active, we actually get our first knockout, our second knockout, my bad. And we get to kill the VSTAR for our second double prize. And all we need is a final kill. But we need to be attaching to the new Heatran with our Magma Basin on the next turn. We need to be getting out the second one as fast as we can. So they actually chose to attack with the second one. That means we need to be thinking about recovering all the damage, retreating to the bench, and recover. I think that's the best move because I don't think we can get out the second one that easily. Let's see what we have inside the deck. If we have our second copy, we should be preparing it instead of worrying about the first one, because they're probably going to boss it if we retreat to the bench. So we got no second Heatran is inside the prize. I think we discarded it. I'm not sure what happened. I think we discarded with a research. So this is quite scary. We're looking through the deck to see what cards we have left. So we're just going to discard our Uxie to draw out the necessary cards that we need. But we actually benched it because we want to be protecting ourselves from weakness. Well, it doesn't really matter because I don't think Greninja gets to attack and it's not doing enough anyways. Plus, I think the reason we benched it is just because we want to be giving something as the sacrifice. So we're just going to retreat to the Uxie for the sacrifice, or maybe the Azelf just because it has the air balloon attached. So they're probably going to do a boss this turn. But we're just going to attach the heat energy. Fingers crossed they don't kill us on the next turn. If they do, we are kind of screwed because they got a lot more turns left to kind of, if they discard too much and draw too much cards from the deck though, they have actually 3 cards left. So if they waste too much turns, if they draw too much from the deck, we can actually win that way. So fingers crossed they actually deck out before they get to KO our Pokemons. So they play a Marnie, which is bad because now they have 1 card left in the deck. And that is just not good. 1 card left. So Marnie means they couldn't play a boss this turn, which is very good news. We got our Cyllene. So we're going to play our Cyllene this turn. Pretty cool. Let's see what happens. What are we able to shuffle back into the deck? Well, not shuffle. You actually get to put it at the top of your deck. So make sure you put like 1 supporter and 1 item, just because that way you get to play your supporter card to draw out the item card as well. So it's actually better to put like 1 honey as the second one, and then a Marnie as the first at the top of your deck, or something like that. So we actually, there we go. I thought we put the orders incorrectly, but we actually put it correctly. Thank you for good deck as well. So we actually got 2 heads, quite lucky. We got 2 heads for a Marnie and a Honey. And we're gonna do the training court. So make sure you don't shuffle your deck if you want to get those cards out. And it's too late though, because they got the boss, so Cyllene didn't actually work just because it was too late. Oh well. And they killed us, but it was so close because they actually got no cards in their hand right now. They got no rods. They actually used one just now, so they have one copy, but they actually couldn't play it at the right time. Now they have 0 cards in their deck, and all we need to do is pass the turn, and we won the game. We won against Darkrai V-STAR because they decked themselves out. That was pretty interesting, yo. That was so cool because we actually got to win by decking them out. Well, by having them deck themselves out, because we actually got to survive that long. Our Heatran gets to survive that long. That's the power of this heavy tanker. We're trying to tank as much damage, buy as much turns as we can, until we got enough strikes for the 6 prize draw, or until they actually deck themselves out. Run off their attackers, right? If we can attack to draw enough prize cards for the win, I think that would be the ideal case. But sometimes it's actually better just to wait until something good happens like that, something lucky happens. I don't know, but always aim to draw your prize cards, because if Heatran can attack fast, you can actually draw all the 6 quite easily. Healing damage every single turn, surviving, and doing 200 damage every single turn is not bad, because you're essentially having full HP passing the turn non-stop. If you are lucky enough with your heal cards, if you are lucky enough to get your Cook and play your Stadium cards and do your Winden Stadium at just the right time. Winden Stadium doesn't actually work that well though, because you actually have to evolve it. If they damage your Heatran before it evolves, you actually get to save yourself with that Stadium card, but it doesn't work for your VMAX. It only works for that one-time evolution. So I would actually prefer, something that heals a VMAX Pokemon. There should be a Stadium card out by now that at least boosts the HP of VMAX Pokemons. But now that V-STAR is out, I think they're kind of abandoning VMAXs. They are making VMAXs more and more weak. They are trying to cut them out from the game by introducing cards like 𝘿𝙬𝙢. So 𝘿𝙬𝙢 with the damage boost ability that helps you hit higher damage with your Pokemon. 1 prize decks as well, doing 30 extra damage against VMAXs, collecting the knockout with 1 strike. So Regidrago now gets to do 300 damage with Choice Belt and 𝘿𝙬𝙢 against VMAX, and all you need to do is play 𝘿𝐿𝐴𝐷𝐿𝐴 or Gapejaw Bog, or even Rocky Helmet. You can't play Rocky Helmet, my bad. So 𝘿𝐿𝐴𝐷𝐿𝐴, Gapejaw Bog, Inteleon Quick Shoot, or like Mustard for Inteleon, Zigzagoon, Scoop Up Net, stuff like that, to collect the knockout by placing only 2 or 3 damage counters on their VMAX Pokemon. So that's the game right now. VMAXs are obsolete. But thanks to Heat Energy, Heatran gets to survive. Heat Energy and Big Charm is gonna get rotated though. Those 2 cards, I think Heat Energy is gonna get rotated as well. I'm not sure which expansion it is. It's pretty early, if I'm not mistaken. Horror Energy is Rebel Clash. Powerful Energy is Vivid Voltage, I think. I have no idea, guys. I'm just totally lost in terms of the expansions. I know a lot of cards, like quite a lot of cards that are common to me. I know which expansion they are from, but some of them I have no clue. It's just force of habit, I suppose. If you play the same cards over and over, you kind of know like which set they're from. Moltres from Chilling Reign, Urshifu from Battle Styles. Okay, they did scoop up that. So this is the ridiculous thing about Urshifu. They're doing shady dealings over and over and over and over. They got up to 4 times with the Drizzile and up to 3 times with the Inteleon, and they get to recycle like twice more for each Scoop Up Net. They get to recycle twice more of those abilities for each Scoop Up Net by doing the stage 2 evolution, double stage evolution. So essentially they get to play like 8 times. They get to do Drizzile 8 times, and they get to do Inteleon 6 times. So they get to search their deck for up to, I'm being a bit particular here, but I'm just getting down to the nitty-gritty. They get to search their deck for up to 8 trainer cards with Drizzile, and up to 24 trainer cards with their Well, they only have 2 Inteleon though, my bad. I think they're playing like 2 of the Shady Dealings one and 1 Quick Shoot. So that would be up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 as well. 8 trainer cards, so like 16 search. 16 searchers with those scoop of nets. Ridiculous, right? I think I'm counting it right. I have no idea, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I think so. So 16 searches. They get to search their deck 16 times with with that ability. That's fucking ridiculous, yo. Go ahead, keep searching. They did their Cheryl. They're gonna do their Cheryl right now. There we go. Insane. Now we got 0 damage on the Urshifu. We're gonna have to start all over again. Horrible, but oh well, we're healing our Pokemon as well, so they better watch out. We're healing everything. They're not playing Rapid Strike Inteleon, so if they are playing that card, we already got all of our late Guardians out. We got our Menafee and our Uxie, Mesprit, Azelf in play, so they can't hit for the weakness. They can't hit our bench. They can't do anything. We got our Cyllene. We're just gonna play that. So when you first build a deck, they're gonna give you the best luck, but the more times you play with the same deck, they're just gonna let you fail more times, right? They're gonna slowly give you worse and worse hands to start with, forcing you to change the list. So the final list actually has only 1 copy now. Initially, I had 2 copies of each Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf, and they never matched me up against a water type. I think they only matched me up against Ice Rider, and once I actually get to fight Rapid Strike Inteleon, but by that time, we already got to the point where we get really bad hands. So early on, like I would say the first 10 games you play, you have a good chance of winning as long as if you're alert, as long as if you play the deck right, if you use the combo at just the right time, if you're smart enough to play the deck at just, use the right cards at just the right time, do the right things that your deck is meant to be doing, not make any mistakes at all, then you can actually sail through the game. You can actually win a lot of games to start with, but only up to the first 10 games. After that, no way, they're not gonna let you win ever again. They're just gonna keep on giving you bad hands over and over and over. I guarantee you guys. I've built decks so many games, for so long now. I know how this game works. I know how this game works now. The first 10 games, up to the first 8 actually. I would say up to the first 8, but if you're optimistic, the first 10, I suppose. And after that, no more. Like, it's just downhill from there onwards. You have to do something to your deck. You have to basically sort out the ratio. You have to figure out how many supporter cards you have to add in, how many more energies, how many more stuff you need to tweak and grind to make your deck much better against the meta. Because first 10 games, they're gonna give you the best luck. They're gonna make you super satisfied with your special combo. They're gonna make you like delirious about yourself, and then after that, it hits like a truck. It's a train wreck after that. Crazy. I mean, I've lost so many games, guys, before I can build the best version of this deck, and the best version only gets to fit in 1 copy of each Uxie, Mesprit, Azelf, and Menafee, which isn't really that good, because we only have 1 Hisuian Heavy Ball to get them out, but 1 copy is not bad though, just because in the standard format, if you play 1 copy, you're quite likely to even have those cards inside your deck. I don't think it's that difficult to have them inside the deck. If you're playing expanded, it's a whole nother story, but standard actually allows you much easier play in terms of having less cards prized. So they would normally prize your energies or your supporter cards, your trainer cards. They wouldn't actually prize the things that you need. For some reason, the algorithm is wired that way. I don't know why. Even if you play 1 copy, it's just gonna show up inside your deck. more times, more likely than not. Because I played so many games now, and all of those late guardians, only one of each. Sorry, only one. My bad. Only one of the late guardians got prized once or twice. I played 40 games with this for this. I actually changed the list though, so it doesn't really count. But I played so many games, and only once or twice that I could remember, I had only one Uxie or Mesprit prize. Okay, here comes the Gale Thrust. How much damage are they doing? They're doing 180. All we need to do is play our stadium card, and we got a lot of heal cards in hand already. If they attack us without healing the Urshifu, they're done for, because Urshifu has very low HP remaining. We just need 200 more damage to kill it off. So they're gonna have to attack with the Moltres. That was pretty weird though, because they actually chose to switch the energy onto the Urshifu. So I suppose they have no more Cheryl instead of the deck. It should be expected. I mean, we should be expecting a Paul Pad, right? A Paul Pad with Cheryl for an Inteleon Shady Dealings deck, but apparently they're not doing that. They're not using Paul Pad. They're using Energy Switch instead, and investing on the Urshifu at that. So definitely not recovering any damage from the Urshifu. And we're down to 4 prize, so what are they gonna do? How are they gonna knock out our Heatran? I suppose they're probably gonna heal. They're probably gonna do Gale Thrust right now, and then collect the knockout with the Moltres. But we got a lot of heal cards, as you can see. We got so many heal, so many Ice Pops and Honeys in our hand. If they play a Marnie though, and attack at on the same turn, we're basically screwed. We got Cook though. We got Cooks inside our deck. And 𝘿𝙬𝓼 as well, that one copy. So I don't think it should be that bad. We just need to play our stadium card that gives us 50 damage recovery. That alone is enough, because we may actually draw out another Heat Energy or a Big Charm to help our Heatran survive another one turn. And that's all it takes for us to get our Honey and Ice Pops back into the hand and flip coins for the full damage recovery. We may not be able to damage, we may not be able to heal all damage, but we may we can at least heal up to like 200 plus damage with those item cards. So it's not a bad deal, definitely. Okay, they did nothing. We're just gonna play our Heat Energy and attack. Now we just need to kill the VMAX. We got no boss in this deck, no VSTAR, nothing to target the bench Pokemon with our supporters. It's actually recommended to play Canceling Cologne. I forgot to mention that during the review. So Canceling Cologne actually helps you hit Decidueye. It helps you hit Altaria, Miraculous Body, Miraculous Charm, Miltank. We have Miltank now, so if they play Miltank, Wheezing, stuff like that, you can play Canceling Cologne to shut down their active Pokemon's ability, and now you can actually strike them with a VMAX. You can kill Miltank with a V Pokemon by playing Canceling Cologne. You can kill Decidueye, you can kill Altaria, you can kill Escavalier with your V Pokemons. Escavalier from Brilliant Stars, it's not really that powerful though, because it only blocks reduced damage done to, reduces damage done by your opponent's Pokemon by 100 damage if they are playing V cards. Okay, here comes another Max Heat Burst. We're just waiting for them to do their first hit, and they're still doing nothing. They got 3 prize already, but they need a Heatran knockout. They can't go without a Heatran knockout. So we're forcing them to knock out our VMAX, playing nothing on the bench. Because if we have a Crobat or Lumineon in this deck, they're probably going to do a boss to kill it off. That's why we cannot afford to play those cards in this deck. Because having it early, if you get like a first Crobat as your first active, you're going to give that free 2 prize to your opponent, which is going to cost you a lot in this game. Because the main strong point of this deck is that we want to be tanking as much damage, buying as much turns as we can with Heatran, and then benching the second one at the very last minute, evolving and attaching energy, attacking with the second copy late stage in the game. So we actually get to attack another Heatran by that time we would draw out those cards from the prize already, because we can actually do a lot of damage with Heatran as well, and we can still draw prizes with that card, with that VMAX. So by that time we can actually pull out our second VMAX. You know, if we're lucky enough, if we're not unlucky, well, we don't actually need to be that lucky to draw out, because we only have that one extra VMAX and one Heatran. So if we're lucky enough, we can actually play the second VMAX and, you know, survive even more turns. Okay, we're gonna put OC as the first active. We got a research, we got a Jublife Village, Jublife City. I keep calling it Jublife City, guys. Jublife Village. It sounds a bit catchier, doesn't it? Jublife City, Jublife City. It sounds a bit more catchy. Jublife Village sounds weird. Because I think it's the same name. From Diamond and Pearl, it's called City. It's actually a city in Diamond and Pearl, but just because Legends Arceus is an ancient game, is you know, turn back in time, they actually turn it into a village. So Jublife Village. That's a weird way of calling a village. So now we're up against Single Strike, which is actually really interesting to watch, I would say, because they are meant to be doing a one-hit knockout on a VMAX. But if we have our Heat Energy and Big Charm attached, we can add up to 380 HP, and I don't think they can reach that high. So one blow does 270, plus all 4 Single Strike Energy. They can do up to 350 only, so only 350. They can't play Temple of Sinnoh because they need those Single Strike Energies to boost the amount of damage that they're doing. So Temple of Sinnoh actually shuts down your Heat Energy, but Single Strike Energy, Single Strike Pokemons need those special energy effects to work, so they cannot play that Stadium card. So that Stadium is off the table. They can play Fan of Waves though, Fan of Wave to remove Heat Energy from play, and Tool Scrapper to remove that Big Charm. So Tool Jammer as well. Those cards are not off the table if you're playing Single Strike in your deck. So with the Choice Belt, they're actually doing 380 damage. So they need all 4 Single Strike Energy attached to that one Urshifu, and Urn of Vitality is going to help them attack with their second Urshifu or maybe the Umbreon later on. So they can't actually hit the weakness because there's no water type for Single Strike. And we don't need to worry about getting the Mesprit out. So they're probably going to evolve the Umbreon, and I don't think they can attack this turn though. Did they already attach the energy on the last turn? I'm not sure. So if they don't attack, we're just gonna diligently attach energy to our Heatran, as much heat energy as we can. So the risk of attaching that special energy is that your opponent can play Fan of Waves, and we have no way of attaching energy fast. So I think it's actually recommended to attach your basic energy first. If you can help it, always attach basic energy first to your VMAX Pokemon, because you want to be attacking early for you to collect enough prize cards for the win while surviving a lot of turns with that one VMAX. So that's the power of this deck. We want to be hitting fast so that we actually don't need that many heal cards. We get to conserve those heal cards and use them at just the right time, not waste them. And we're just going to play our Jublife Village right now. We may play a quick ball first. Let's just do the village because I don't think we should be discarding our Kindler. Oh, we actually did Wise Guidance. Oh, we did the village, my bad. So Wise Guidance help you search for only one card, but we can actually search for a research or an energy card, something, whatever. I don't really know what to play, honestly. Because Jublife only gets you 5 cards into your hand. You're shuffling your hand as well. So shuffling is not really it's actually high risk. You have no idea what you're gonna draw. You have no idea what you're gonna draw from the deck. Marnie, you actually have a clear idea. It may actually be bad cards that you're drawing, because you could actually have like something you need inside your hand. You may need to draw something else in addition to the cards you have already inside your hand, and Marnie is gonna screw you over just because of that. but you may actually don't need the cards you have already in your hand, and you want to be drawing fresh new cards, and Marnie is going to give you a huge advantage. So it really depends on what situation you're in. That's why it's always healthy to play like a couple of copies of Shauna and Marnie at the same time in the same deck. So Shauna Marnie actually does kind of the same thing, draw 5 cards, but kind of the different thing, kind of a, you know, they are kind of like evil twins because they are like total opposites but identical at the same time. Caitlyn is not really that, you know, it's not used that often. I don't see a lot of people play Caitlyn, and it doesn't really get featured that often. Caitlyn is quite cool though. I've done Chinchino with Caitlyn. I think that's the best. Gardevoir with Caitlyn as well. That's the best way of playing that card. Because if you want to be arranging your deck with your Caitlyn, if you are playing Gourgeist or Infernape, you can actually do Caitlyn to put energy cards back into the deck and draw out the non-energies, helping you do more damage with your Infernal Vortex or your Pumpkin Fest. I don't know what that attack is. Gourgeist does like 60x damage for each psychic Pokemon you reveal from the top 6 cards of the deck. You can play Sandaconda as well, but we tried that one, it doesn't work that well. Sandaconda with Eldegoss and Caitlyn, because Eldegoss gets you the energy cards into your hand. Caitlyn actually helps you shuffle, put those cards at the bottom and draw out the non-energy cards, and if you draw an item card, you can actually shuffle your deck. Shuffling your deck helps you put those energies possibly at the top of the deck, and having more energies actually helps you do more damage with the Sandaconda. So there's a lot of concept with this game. I love solving puzzles. I love finding those rare gems that this game actually has to offer, but it's kind of not a lot though. Like recently, it's not that I've become, you know, I've become less creative or stuff like that. It's just I feel like it's a bit more difficult for me to find those rare gems just because this game is more and more confined. The abilities are a bit more restricted. The attacks works less well. You need more energies for this, you need more energies for that. You know, the combos doesn't actually work. You try and try and try, it just doesn't work. So either we have to wait for new cards to be released, or we actually need to somehow play the expanded format to explore our creativity, because Standard is really not working that well these days. It's just so hard to play Standard. It's so rare that you get to see Standard decks that are so off meta that it deserves to be called Rogue, right? So off meta that not only does it work, it works surprisingly well. Something like Indeedee. Nobody ever thought of Indeedee. Nobody ever thought of Kyogre with Cryogonal until I first released it, and then everyone uses that deck. It's ridiculous. They stole my deck and they never credited me. They just never credited me. I was the first one to build Kyogre Cryogonal. Before that, everybody played Frostmoth. Can you believe how dumb that is? Everybody played Frostmoth with Kyogre. Frostmoth with Kyogre. Everybody does that. Everybody did that. And the minute I played Cryogonal, all the YouTubers post those videos and they got millions and millions of views. I got less than 200, as usual, as fucking usual, because that's how the system works. YouTube is not fair. YouTube is just not fair, guys. It's not their original idea. They stole it from someone else. I mean, come on. It's so obvious. Everyone posting the same video over and over. I mean, there's no originality. Like, originality, personality is lost these days. There's no such thing as, you know, uniqueness. There's no such thing as your own, you know, showing your own, what do you call that? Essence. There's no such thing anymore. Nobody have essence anymore. Everyone's a copycat. What's the point? What's the fucking point? Okay, we got our lucky Ice Pop. We actually did our Kindler. It's actually quite difficult to play that supporter card if you have not enough basic energy in your deck. We only have 7 copies, so Kindler is actually quite risky to play if you play under 9 basic energy in your deck, because it doesn't allow you to discard your heat energy to search the top 7 cards of your deck. So it's very tricky to play. They actually conceded though. They gave up early, which is quite depressing to watch. They got probably a bad hand. They got only 1 card left in their hand. So that's probably the reason why. And they already done their max 1 blow. They got nothing else to attack with on the next turn. If they don't get their supporter card or Urn of Vitality, they're stuck for that one entire turn. They may get an incense for the Dark Signal to buy them an extra few turns, but I suppose they got frustrated because we actually did a lot of things. We're trying to squeeze as much as we can, play our Kindler and draw out our basic Pokemon with the Quick Ball, draw them out from the deck so that we at least get to draw something good on the next turn with the Research. I think we have a bench Heatran as well. So right now we're up against a 1-price Bisharp. 1-price Bisharp deck. The crazy Bisharp doing 30x damage for each damage counter on your benched Pawniard. Kartana is actually the Ultra Beast. It's actually from Sun and Moon, right? The Ultra Beast from Sun and Moon. Bisharp is from Unova. So it's not Sword and Shield. It's from Unova, but they're bringing it back. Surprisingly, it's not a Diamond and Pearl card, but they're trying to revive this. And there is actually quite a few copies of that card. They actually printed a few different Bisharps in Sword and Shield as well. So I have no idea why it's so popular. Kind of the same as your Bibarel and what other cards? Greedent. Greedent is very popular. Like Greedent has so many different cards, and there's gonna be a new one on the next set as well. It's crazy. Greedent. There's the Greedy Tail. Search your deck for a tool card. There is the energy. I forgot what it's called, but energy. It protects your energy from being discarded or put back into the top of your deck. It protects your energy from being put back into your hand as well by item cards and supporter. So that Greedent, we have our Greedent VMAX, we have our Greedent with the what's it called again? It has the attack that allows you to put it back into your hand, doing 100 damage. I forgot the attack. It's a loop attack. I forgot the attack. Sorry guys. So we have 3 Greedents now, and on the next set there's going to be a new Greedent allowing you to do up to 100 plus damage, I think 180 damage if you discard your hand. If you have more than 5 cards discarded from your hand using the attack. So that attack actually requires you to discard your whole hand. So you need a Bibarel, obviously. You need Bibarel, Rose Tower, something to draw back, recover your hand. Rose Tower is gonna get rotated though, I think. We have no news on rotation, which is quite surprising because it's gonna come quite soon. If it's gonna come, I think it's gonna probably be soon. Usually, it usually happens in August, so we should be prepared right now. Okay, they are having a very slow start because they haven't got their Gapejaw. I think the main card that they need to be drawing out into their hand is that Stadium. So the only way they are placing damage counter is with the Stadium card. That's how one-dimensional this game is. That's how silly people are. People never think of new ways of doing things, right? How do we place damage counters on Pawniard? How do we do that? Oh, we use Gapejaw. That's the only fucking way. There's so many other ways, but no, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna use our brain. We're not gonna test the system. We're not gonna challenge ourselves. We're not gonna experiment and explore. We're just gonna play what the system dictates us to play. We're just gonna play what the system dictates us to play. They want us to play a Gapejaw? Sure, we're just gonna follow the system. Come on, guys. Stop playing the same decks. I've seen Urshifu Inteleon everywhere. Ice Rider Inteleon everywhere. Arceus everywhere. I mean, oh my god, it's so tedious. It's making the game so boring. Game after game after game. I mean, it's fun to defeat an Arceus with your one price deck, but it just gets boring, you know? Because they can search so many times. They can search with the VSTAR power, they can search with Shady Dealings. It's just madness. Okay, they got their first 2 damage counters in. They need to scoop it up and bench it, re-bench that stadium. So re-bench the Ponyard. Play the second stadium as well, because we actually discarded that stadium card. So that's the bad thing about Ponyard. You need your Roseanne to shuffle back your stadium cards. You need your Shady Dealings to draw it from the deck. I don't think there's any way you can draw out the stadium other than Peony and Skyla. So Peony, Skyla with your Bibarel would actually help out a lot to draw out the stadium early, and then before you bench your Ponyard, obviously, because once you bench your Ponyard, you're gonna need to get your scoop up net. If you don't get a scoop up net, you're gonna waste it as well. Even if you do get it, you're gonna have to use it for the rebench. And if your opponent plays snipe cards like Urshifu, you need a Menefee. If you don't have a Menefee, you need to recycle. You need to rescue carrier your Ponyard. I keep calling it Kartana for some reason. You need to rescue your Ponyard and then rebench it on the same turn, while maybe perhaps playing your third Gapejaw Bog if they use a stadium card in their deck. So most decks play a lot of stadiums right now, especially with Temple of Sinnoh out. Temple of Sinnoh is a huge disruption against Arceus, is a huge disruption against Mew VMAX. I think it's smart to play at least 1 copy in any deck that you're playing, because those meta decks is going to be completely crushed with just 1 copy of Temple of Sinnoh. Temple of Sinnoh destroys double turbo, it destroys single strike, rapid strike, fusion strike. Any 1 price deck with twin energy, it destroys them all. Temple of Sinnoh is so powerful. So if they play 1 price deck though, they probably have Path to the Peak. If they play Arceus, they probably have something else. Like, I don't know. I've seen a few Arceus decks that play Path to the Peak as well. But they probably play stuff like Training Court or... I have no idea, honestly. You can just play anything. You can just play Tower of Darkness to draw more cards. If you're doing Gengar. Okay, we actually got 2 hits with Cyllene again. Surprise, surprise. And make sure you are aware of which card is at the top. So we actually did the wrong order. We did the wrong order this turn, and we put the we did the honey. I think it was a Lucky Ice Pop, my bad. We put the Lucky Ice Pop at the top of the deck instead of having the research at the top. So we're actually wasting 1 turn before we get to play our supporter card. If we top deck a research on the next turn, we get to draw out the second card that we put back with our Cyllene, and we get to draw more heal cards possibly with that supporter. So it's always smart to play Cyllene. If you get 2 hits, to put a supporter at the top and something else, a heal card, an item card at the second, on the second, below it. Okay, here comes the research. I'm quite surprised that they have no Menefee. Oh, they have one. Okay, they actually decided to discard it. They got Mightyena as well. So no Menefee just because they got, they saw us not playing a bench snipe. If your opponent is not playing a bench snipe, might as well just discard it, right? So that's their third Gapejaw Bog. They need another copy out. It's gonna be quite difficult to survive though, so I think our best bet is just to retreat right now, and hopefully they don't have any more Gapejaw Bogs. Oh, we actually decided to kill it off, so it's quite tricky now, because if they kill us, we have nothing else to attack with. So we should definitely have played our research just now. We wanted to concede, as you can see, but we made the worst mistake ever. Had we done our research on the last turn, we could have probably drawn a honey at least to heal a bit more damage. But they're doing a lot though. They're doing up to 300 damage with that Bisharp. I keep calling it Kartana, guys. Oh my goodness, with that Kartana. Pawniard and Bisharp. Pawniard and Bisharp. Bibarel, Pawniard and Bisharp. The stage 1 box, they got Mightyena and Zoroark as well. Trekking shoes. The new Acrobike, right? And they played the Jubilife Village. Okay. We finally got our research and we're just gonna... Oh, they couldn't attack though. They didn't get their evolution, so that means Heatran actually survived that turn, which was actually a big surprise. So we're gonna attach our Heat Energy and hopefully heal a bit more damage on the next turn. We're just gonna keep our hand because we actually got our Kindler inside, so I think it would be smarter to just keep our hand. I don't know. We're just gonna bench everything and do the Jubilife actually. Okay, not bad. So they're doing 240 damage if they have a choice belt. I don't think they can do more than that, unless if they scoop up the Pawniard and then evolve the Zoroark, transform and attack with the Zoroark. They can actually do 300 plus damage. Well, 300. The max they can do is actually 300, right? That's the max they can do, and they got nothing. Apparently, they couldn't evolve, they couldn't get the energy, so they actually conceded. So that's all for this video. I'm gonna end it right here. I'm gonna end the voiceover because I'm super tired right now. I'm gonna just go ahead and patch up this video. Churn out as many content as I can. Edit fast so that I actually get to post more videos for you guys to enjoy. And we will see you next time. Have a great day and bye for now, lovely people. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. We're actually featuring the new Heatran VMAX this turn, this time with our Magma Gain ability, healing 50 damage from itself if you have a Stadium card in play, and doing the max heat burst attack for 180 damage plus the burn effect, and also having a lot of heal cards in this deck as well. Playing our Honey, Lucky Ice Pop, our Cook. We have also Cyllene, the new supporter card to help us put any 2 cards inside the discard pile back into the deck. You get to recycle any of your heal cards or maybe even your supporter. We also have our Jubilife Village to shuffle our hand back into the deck and draw 5 cards, ending our turn after using that card. So make sure you're aware, you actually have to end your turn if you want to be shuffling your hand that way. And we also are playing the new Astral Radiance Mesprit with the Mental Shroud ability, protecting ourselves from water weakness with our Azelf and Uxie as well. We actually need all 3 of the late Guardians in play for Mental Shroud to protect your Heatran from the water type weakness. And so we got our weakness guard, we got our heal cards, we got our heat energy, we got also our big charm to add up to 400 HP with our Heatran VMAX, tanking a lot of damage and healing every single turn, surviving multiple turns, helping us do max heat burst over and over until we collect all 6 prizes for the win with only a single copy of the VMAX. So right now we're up against Typhlosion VSTAR with Shadow-Rider VMAX. Our next battle is with Deep Forest Camo Decidueye, and the last one is a 𝘿𝐿𝐼𝐻𝑚𝐼𝑐E VMAX matchup. So that's all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Have a great day and bye for now, lovely people. Enjoy your life.